Now that you're homeless, you want to get off the streets, or maybe you've been homeless for a while and you could use some advice from someone who's been chronically homeless for 25 years, like myself. I've been on the streets so many times over the years that I've lost count of how many times I've actually been homeless. Each time I've gotten off the streets, it's been a little bit different. So in today's video, I'm going to share with you 5 ways you can get off the streets. Some of these will be quick and easy, and others you'll have to play the long game on. When I was in Eugene, Oregon, one of the things that I did, and it helped me get off the streets and get a stable income and be able to survive and take care of myself, was using Craigslist and going on the gig section. Now, I went in the general labor section. I found a guy. He ended up needing me several times a week. But anytime I needed work, or if I wanted more money, or if I wanted more work, all I had to do was go on Craigslist. Now, you're not going to have the same luck that I did, or maybe you might. But if you decide to go on Craigslist, there's a lot of people that actually make their living off of Craigslist, especially in the Craigslist gigs. Now, over the last 15 years or so, a lot of that has changed. But back in the day, you used to be able to go on gigs. You didn't have to pay for anything or anything like that. I don't know what it's like now, but Craigslist used to be a great place, especially if you're on the West Coast or west of the Rockies. Craigslist is very widely used. You might have a different website that's used locally in your area. But that is just one way for you to be able to make money so that you can get off the streets. And it's a pretty quick and easy way to do it. My one piece of advice is just keep trucking along. And, there's a lot of people that make money doing this. One of my favorite times was when I was in San Antonio. And when I was in San Antonio, I went into rich neighborhoods and I started knocking doors because I was asking how much the landscapers were charging. And they're like, oh, it's $100. And I'm like, well, I can undercut these guys. I can get a lot of work. And I would even just tell them, like, look, if you got the equipment, I can do the work. I'll do your general labor for you. And that way you don't have to pay another guy. And if I mow your lawn, I'll even sweep your driveway, no extra cost for doing that, because the wealthier neighborhoods, they get nickel and dime for every little thing that the landscapers or anybody would come in there and do. And so when I would knock on the door, I would ask them if they had any work, and I would tell them, well, I'm homeless and I can't get a job without a place, and I can't get a place without a job. So by getting work here, I'm hoping it puts me in a place so that I can therefore go get a job. Now, I didn't realize, I was really young back then. I didn't realize that I could have actually turned that into a business. And I ended up taking that same method and leaving San Antonio and going to Houston. Now, my one piece of advice, if you do go through and you knock doors and stuff like that, is to not only, be polite and be cordial and kind of be relatable, but also be careful who you bring in to help you, because those people can be very destructive to you. So this is just my one piece of advice if you decide to go this route. But it is a great way not only to start your own personal business, doing, unskilled labor, being able to have people that want to help you, and especially if it's going to save them money. So, just think of it that way. It's a great way for you to make money so that you can get off the streets. Now, when I was in San Francisco, I tried to do things a little bit different. I realized, like, I'm almost 25 years old. I don't have any skills. I've tried to get into some skilled labor jobs, but the red tape and all the stuff that I had to go through was so much that it became overwhelming to me. So I decided, you know what, let me go to a technical school. And I ended up going to this technical school and majoring in IT. So you guys have probably heard me talk about my background in the IT field. Well, this was back then. And the thing was, when you try and go to college and, you're in the shelter system and you're trying to, get up on your feet, you just keep a roof over your head so that you can shower and do your hygiene every day, have a place to get a meal. They make it really hard for you to go and level up your skills, regardless of whatever it is that you do, because they're like, if you're going to be doing something, you need to be making money. So instead of giving you the opportunity to go and to get, level up your skills so that you can get a better job, so that you can get in a professional field that has more job stability, they really don't want you to do that. But the way I was able to work around a lot of this is I did the federal work study program. So when you go to college, especially if you go full time, you get access to funds that are part of the federal work study. It's how you're able to survive. Now, I did rent a studio apartment with two other people in it. We each paid $600 a month. This is San Francisco in like 2005 and 6. So, I mean, rent was through the roof. but I was able to put a roof over my head and to be able to deal with the whole situation. But the thing is, when you're really trying to do something and you're trying to improve your life, the homeless system does not want you to succeed, and they're going to do everything they can to put in those stumbling blocks, and you should be prepared for that. But you should also have resolve and tenacity to get up there and get that done anyways, because it's not necessarily that you can't do it. It's just going to be much harder than if you go get a job at McDonald's, because that's what they want you to do, because that's where they want you to be. Because when McDonald's cuts, you're going to be right back there getting their services again. Now, number 4, this is how I started my janitorial business. I wasn't exactly homeless at the time. I was in McMinnville, Oregon. You guys have heard me talk about the houses. I had gotten to a point where I was not where I was about to be homeless, and it's like, okay, it's all going away, so now it's time to find something else to do. And I did a lot of research on what it is, because I was like, okay, I want to be able to have something that I'm going to do forever, I'm going to like, and that works with me. And I knew I wanted to be self-employed, and I always enjoyed cleaning because it was very therapeutic to me. There's many different fields that you can do this with. I just chose cleaning, so I started in the residential cleaning when I first started in McMinnville. I would later relocate to Dallas, Texas, and I would morph from a residential cleaning to commercial cleaning, which is also known as janitorial. But the thing was, is I took my last $20 that I had, but I had like a broom, a dustpan, some basic cleaning supplies that you'd use around the house to be able to go and put myself out there. I took my last $20. I used an app called Thumbtack. Now, you will have to go through a background check, and they're really, really strict on their background check compared to somebody like Home Advisor. So I will tell you that that is something that you need to really be thoughtful of when you're doing some of these apps, because when you're going into somebody's home, they need to make sure that you're not going to be a certain place, a certain type of person. And so they're going to vet you before they put you to their customers, and you go out there and you buy those leads. But I took those that $20. I bought 4 leads. One of them panned out, paid me $180. I took $80 of it, bought a big old block of leads, and I just went up from there. By the time I ended up having to close my janitorial business, because of what was going on the border in Texas, my overall revenue was over $100,000 a year. So I mean, I grew it into something successful. But you're going to play the long game. A lot of it had to do with the quality of cleaning that I did, and at the price that I did it at. I always want to deflate the market, because I think the market's always overpriced, and so therefore, that was kind of my overall ideology when I did the business. Plus, I did eco-friendly, which I didn't even charge extra for, which therefore made me more marketable. It made it much easier for me to get gigs, because they're like, oh, I don't have to pay extra, and I get eco-friendly, because people really want eco-friendly. If you want to go that route, though, and starting a cleaning business, I recommend checking into a company called doTERRA. Their cleaning products are bar none. They're some of the best that I've ever used, if you're going to go the whole natural route. But this was something that I did, and it went good for about 6 years, until the whole border crap happened, because of politics, essentially. So that is number 4. Number 5 is what I'm doing right now. I started in the Orlando area. First, I started out on bike. Then, I got onto hiking trail. I realized I don't like bikes. But what I decided to do was to get into the digital economy. With the workforce being automated, with AI coming in there and being a huge competitor, because all you have to do is pay for the program. You don't have to pay for wages and benefits and all those other things that companies have to pay for. So therefore, it reduces their overall overhead and labor. So if you're going to survive in the economy of the future, you're going to have to be in the digital economy. And the digital economy is everything from YouTube to Fiverr to Upwork to, just starting your own website and either doing a blog or doing some sort of business or some sort of consulting or something along those lines. There's many different ways to get into the digital economy, and each section of the digital economy has its own obstacles and challenges. A lot of what you already have, especially if you have skilled training, like you're an accountant or you're this or that. A lot of your skilled work is easily transferable over into the digital economy, because instead of relying on one employer, you're picking and choosing your clients and your pricing, and you get control over your schedule, but you don't necessarily get 100% control over your clients, because you still have things that you have to abide by just to be able to get into things like that. So, the digital economy, it's up, it's down, you're playing a long game. There's a lot of different obstacles. Like, one of the things that I really didn't anticipate, because, it's a huge learning curve, is that I should have started marketing myself in a business sense to be able to generate more revenue, instead of relying on my tip jar like I have been for the last couple of years, while I've been building my ad revenue and my following, and just hoping that somebody would come and say, "Hey, Tuck, we want you to come speak for us. Hey, Tuck, we want you to market our product for us. Hey, Tuck, we love your following. We want access to your viewers for one reason or another." But the thing is just like any other business, this is nothing more than a marketing and advertising platform for you to be able to do your business. So what I'm doing as part of that for myself is, I've got 25 years of chronic homelessness, of lived experience. I have been one of the few that have managed to not develop a mental health issue, a criminal record, or a drug addiction before, during, or after my homelessness. Now, it is its own little thing. Again, this is my little niche. This is where I can sit there and I can market myself, because I'm not necessarily a unicorn, but guys like me, we don't really want to talk to people, because we've been jaded from society. So to have somebody that really wants to step up and talk about the real issues is something that is important and beneficial to society. Now, you will get rewarded and benefited along the way, whatever it is that you choose to do. But understand that that whatever you do, you're starting a business. Even if you're starting a YouTube channel, you have to look at it as a business, because if you just look at it as, "Oh, I'm just going to be an influencer," yeah, influencing is much harder than you think it is. Starting a business and using your YouTube channel or whatever social media platform you're using to be able to market yourself by putting out relevant content, because video is king in the digital marketing realm. Okay, so these are some different things that you can do to get into the digital economy. Okay, guys, I hope that this helped you understand different ways you can get off the streets. Everything from going and creating your own work, because if you look at all this, I never went out and looked for a job. I was either looking for skills that would make me more marketable, or I was looking to rummage up my own work. See, a lot of the things that most people don't realize is that being homeless, you're going to go out there and you're going to look for a job. And 20 years ago, 25 years ago even, if you even mentioned that you were homeless, they automatically lumped you in as being a drug addict, and they didn't want you in their workplace, so therefore they would rescind any job offers. So back in the day, the only way you could get off the streets was either to really be good at blending in and not letting anybody know that you're homeless, so that you can go get a job, unless you were going and getting something like at McDonald's. But if you wanted to go get a real job, like doing security, or doing something that's going to pay better than some like no skill labor, like working at McDonald's, you would have to be able to not allow people to know that you're homeless. So therefore, the only way you could get off the streets was to go out there and make your own work, go out there and get your own stuff going. And so that is how I learned to survive homelessness over the last 25 years. And as you guys have heard me say, I've made a lot of money being homeless, and a lot more money being homeless than I ever did being housed. And that's my business was started out of homelessness to begin with. Everything that I've done, and every good avenue of revenue that I had actually came from being homeless, because it forces you to be your own resource, to look within and really pull yourself up by your bootstraps. The average person is too busy being dependent on an employer that will go to work and be treated like crap, because they know if they lose that job, then they lose their house, and then they're out on the streets. And well, there's many different reasons why people don't want to be homeless. So therefore, they will take the mistreatment and the torture. And as somebody who's been chronically homeless, and I've walked away from jobs, including in Eugene, at one point in time, I got a job doing surveys, and they wanted me to do something that I thought was unethical, immoral, and borderline illegal, but they wanted me to force something down somebody's throat that I just wasn't feeling comfortable with. because I know how to be able to go out and make my own money, how to be able to go out there and take care of myself, I was able to stand on my morals and my ethics and say, no, I'm not doing this. And instead of taking the write up, because they're like, we're going to write you up next time you do this, we're going to fire you. I said, I tell you what, let's just save all this paperwork. Go ahead. When do I pick up my last check? We're done. And, that's what homelessness, that's the real freedom in homelessness, is the ability to stand and not compromise yourself. But the thing is, you got to have the confidence to know how to be able to do all of this stuff. Now, this channel is a resource for the homeless. If you're homeless, I hope that this benefits you and helps you. If you know people that are homeless, make sure you share this with them, and maybe it might give them some ideas to help them get off the streets if they really want to get off the streets. And for those of you that have the ability to leave something down in the tip jar, that funds me so that I can keep making this as a resource as I keep trying to build my own sustainable income so that I don't have to rely on my tip jar anymore. But again, this is a long game. It takes a while to be able to do something like this. So I hope to see you in the next video. Thanks for being here.